Okay, let's begin. Hey guys, Ranger here, and welcome back to another reaction interview. And this one is a special video. Nobody recommended this at all. I saw this in the recommendations, and I said, I gotta check this out. This is MLP Friendship is Magic Season 9 final trailer. And this is a different trailer than what we've seen before. This is apparently the second half. I think this was a trailer that was released for the second half of the second season. So let's go ahead and begin and delve into this. I'll watch it, then I'll give my thoughts on this. Now keep in mind, I have not, as of this video, watched episode 15 and beyond yet. So let's dive in and see what happens in this, and I'll give my thoughts and theories. So let's begin. Start video. 3, 2, 1, click.
Twilight. When we sent you to Podyville, I had high hopes.
Return to Equestria.
When you became Princess of Friendship, I knew the time was upon us. As Equestria leaves behind the old to embrace the new.
It's the first shift in royal power in over a millennium. How are you feeling about all this?
I'm scared.
Oh boy.
We don't have the elements of harmony anymore. We're on our own.
Do I have to do that thing where I list all your successes to remind you that we believe in you? You've made a big difference to us.
It's up to us to save Equestria.
It'll be just like old
The
times.
Wendigos.
This is gonna be the last battle ever.
If this is the last one, I simply can't miss it.
We're kinda with Discord on this one. Now let's save Equestria!
Final chapter.
Spread out and stay ready, friends. Canterlot depends on us.
We faced enemies of Equestria before, and we've always succeeded. That wouldn't be possible without all of you.
You're welcome.
Dude, read the room.
I don't want this to end. I don't. Ah, great, I'm tearing up. I really don't want this to end. Lord knows I don't. I don't want this to end, you know. But I'm going to put the emotions aside and give my analysis on this first. Going over this, it looks back. This trailer begins as it looks back over different things that has transpired from the beginning, the very beginning of the show, with Twilight having arrived in Equestria. The scenes that we see, the transitions, this right here, which we saw in Season 3 during Celestia's Ballad. And whenever Twilight got her wings and her coronation. And this scene here with Luna and Celestia, I don't remember this scene right here. Actually, this hasn't happened yet because Spike has his wings. Okay, so this right here hasn't happened yet. So this particular scene right here hasn't happened yet. So I have yet to see this scene right here. But we also see another shot of what appears to be them preparing in Canterlot for a celebration, and we see a banner with Twilight's cutie mark on it. And I'm guessing that this is... Oh, wait, no, never mind. I'm wondering about the fans here. Or are those falling from the sky? I don't know. No, those are attached. This might have actually been... Okay, I don't know if this scene has happened yet. This might have been during the Twilight 7 episode. And there's a segment where Rarity asks Twilight how is she feeling about all this. And Twilight's holding something in her hoof. And an interesting thing to note is Twilight... As Twilight walks away, we see what appears to be a storm outside. And we see all of her friends looking concerned. And we see all of her friends looking concerned. And then Twilight says that she's scared. And we see this really emotional segment where she's crying. And it's here that it has a similar animation style to the movie. And Twilight admits that she's scared. And this is, honestly, this is a heartbreaking scene. I don't even know what's going on here, but there's another segment where it shows Twilight addressing the crowd. Here, I don't know where the scene is at. I don't think we've seen it yet. Twilight says that they don't have the elements anymore, but this, I don't know if this scene, if the dialogue in this scene is legit. But there's a segment where all the characters look at each other as if it's their final stand, and then they just rally together. And they're concerned, I can tell it, but they're also ready to fight. And then there's another scene with Rainbow flying through the clouds with raindrops, and another Pegasus, and there's a storm. Not sure what's going on. There's another segment where we see... Wait. Hold on! Wait a minute, hold on. I just now noticed something. There's a scene with Luna and Celestia standing here, but there's sparks going off in the sky, but we noticed something in the moon. There's another image. There's another image here. Purple. And it's similar to Nightmare Moon before Luna was brought back. But here, I'm wondering, there's a part of me that wonders. Now, okay, I know that apparently the rest of the whole show has been leaked already in another country, and apparently Facebook has been blowing up with spoilers, and I've been trying to avoid it all. I've seen a couple of screens, but I don't know if they're edited or if they're legit. I'm pretending that they're edited, so I'm trying to avoid spoilers completely at all costs. And I've seen some people that I follow post things about, do not spoil it. Keep spoilers to yourself. Don't spoil anything. But I'm wondering, like, leaving that out of the equation, I'm wondering here if surely Twilight didn't sacrifice herself and made herself part of the moon. I'm hoping that's not the case. There's another scene here. This scene with Celestia and Luna and Twilight, I'm guessing this is in the exact same episode as the bedroom scene that we saw earlier. And there's another scene here where Spike makes a mention about having to try to remind Twilight. And there's an interesting... The expression on Twilight's face is definitely one of contemplation. She's thinking. Here, Applejack says that Twilight has made a big difference to them. And I don't know if she's referring... And we see this adorable little scene of Twilight hugging Spike. And then, like, all of them just hug. And it's such a cute little moment. But I'm wondering here if Applejack means that Twilight has made a difference in their lives. If maybe Twilight was doubting herself here, and Applejack was telling her that. Or if she meant that Twilight did make a difference in trying to help with something else. Maybe help Equestria. And here's this other scene where they're standing firm, standing strong, and Twilight makes the remark that it's up to them to save Equestria. And we also see the Wendigos have returned in this shot here. And it's interesting because there's another glow that begins to happen. A yellowish glow. There's something that looks like it's forming in there. I'm guessing that's Grogar with the yellow glow. That's what I'm speculating. It's interesting here, Fluttershy's backing up, but she makes a mention about just like old times, a reference to the past. And here we have all the main six, all the rest of the main six standing before Twilight along with Luna and Celestia and Discord, along with some of the members of the Royal Guard, which is interesting. And Twilight says here, the last battle ever, but it does not appear that this But this particular dialogue does not sync up with with Twilight's lips. So this is not the dialogue that is seen in this particular part of this particular shot. Twilight is saying something else, but the scene of her last battle ever, I'm not sure where that's coming from. This other shot where we see a camera begin to zoom in on the main six as they're bracing for impact. This is in the same episode, the same shot of them having looked at each other and then moved closer as they stood strong. And we see something is zooming in towards them, and they're bracing for impact. All of them are kind of bracing just for it, and Twilight has a sort of a look of acceptance. And this is kind of interesting because this particular scene, it kind of reminds me of Toy Story 3, where all of the characters were in that furnace, getting ready. Like all of the toys were in that furnace, and here we have all of the main six. And to me, this is reminiscent of that, because here we have the main six who are sort of, they're like the characters in Toy Story, where in that moment, at first, they're trying to fight. In Toy Story 3, they're trying to fight the furnace, they're trying to fight back. But then they begin to slowly realize that it's over, and they begin to just accept death. And so they begin to hold each other's hand as if, like they're saying, if we're going out, at least we're going out together. And that's what I see in this particular scene here with Twilight and the main six, is they're bracing for the impact. They're hugging because they want to go out. If they want to go out, they're going out together. And honestly, this is very beautiful. It's very sweet. And you see the moment. You see different expressions. You see different expressions here. You see one of concern, of course, from Fluttershy, Rarity, and Pinkie. They're still concerned, but they are accepting it. Applejack is sort of in the middle. She's kind of like with Rainbow Dash. She's concerned, but she's also kind of facing it with a bit more ferocity. Twilight is the one that is kind of, from her expression, is the most, I think, the most accepting. Like here, she is accepting whatever fate is coming to her, coming to them, because she has her friends with her, and as long as they go together, that's what matters. There's another shot where Discord appears, and we see it's nighttime outside, and they're planning something as they have blueprints, documents here. And one thing that we notice, if you pay attention, the dialogue that Discord says here, it's kind of a bit choppy. And I noticed that about this trailer in the earlier beginning with Celestia as well. The dialogue seemed to sort of cut off and begin with another sentence very quickly. It did not seem to make a smooth transition. So, I mean, I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but it more furthered the concept that this was put together with different scenes throughout. And we hear Discord say, if this is the last one, he quickly adds on one. And so I'm thinking that maybe those might be two separate lines, maybe from two different episodes, or maybe the same one, but they're just kind of put together quickly. And I know, editing. I'm not whatsoever. I haven't been doing this for as long as these guys have, but I know the concept of trying to edit, video clips together, and you're going to have times where the audio kind of jumps together because you had to split it, and you had to trim it and put it together. And that's what it sounds like here. So this particular dialogue does not completely match up. It does not make a smooth transition. Another thing that I notice here is Twilight's sort of serene, calm expression here with Discord. Like, she's very laid back, very calm with this. And I'm not really sure why she's so calm here. I guess I'll find out whenever I get to that episode. There's another segment here, and of course in the same shot, Rainbow says that they're going to have to side with Discord on this one. Not really sure what exactly is going on in this particular episode, but I don't think it's related to the final battle. I could be wrong, but I don't think it is. Now there's another shot that we see with the Wonderbolts trying to capture what looks like purple clouds. We see the Wonderbolts and we see Rainbow Dash with barrels with a logo on it. And they're trying to capture the clouds. Now this, because of the barrels that have what looks like thunder clouds on them, I'm wondering if maybe this is an episode where an accident happened at the weather factory, pardon me, and all this got loose, or maybe somehow they're trying to contain it. I'm not really sure. There's another shot as well where we see the pillars all standing firm, standing strong, ready to fight. But I'm not really sure exactly what's going on in this particular scene or where the scene is being used. There is a scene where Star Swirl is also using his magic against something as well. The scene transitions to another shot where Pinky, Rainbow Dash, and Twilight Sparkle are, where Pinky, Rainbow, and Twilight are trying to avoid this laser blast. And this is the same color red as T-Rex, so I'm thinking that this could be T-Rex that's actually attacking at this particular point because it looks like it could be his blast. And I happen to get Rainbow's butt in the shot, so there's also one here, an interesting one, where Rarity ends up using her magic to create a shield. Interestingly enough, we see a green laser blast hitting. I'm thinking this is probably Chrysalis because her magic is green, so I'm thinking that this is Chrysalis. And it's also interesting that Rarity's, Rarity is Rarity. She's elegant, she's refined. Her cutie mark is basically diamonds, and here she has a sort of a diamond shield that she conjured with magic. And so there's an interesting thing with this here. And we also see, as the scene transitions, it's a slow thing. I didn't notice it the first time, but we see, it's kind of hard to catch it. We see that Rarity is beginning to stress as the shield is beginning to crack under the power of this spell. So I'm not really sure what's going to happen with this one, but there's another shot as well where, and we also see in the shot, Spike is on the ground, and he doesn't move, really. He doesn't move throughout this whole split scene. And I'm thinking that maybe Rarity possibly jumped in front and used the shield to try to defend Spike. There's another shot as well where Twilight takes off. She uses her magic, and she's angry, and she's dodging boulders that are being flung at her. And we see this total beast scene where Twilight is powering up, and she's getting more and more angry as the shot progresses. There's another scene that follows where we see the Royal Guards, and this is an interesting scene because we see one of the female Royal Guards, whom I think in the Game Off game says Royal Guard Marshal, is starting to run forth and attack. We see the two male guards. We see at first all three male guards are standing with a look of concern as this first Royal Guard charges forward, female guard, and then immediately the other two male guards and the second female guard also join. And there's another shot where we see a blast coming towards Luna, Celestia, and Twilight. Interestingly enough, Luna and Celestia are more just kind of shocked. It's kind of funny because Luna has this "oh freaking heck" expression. Celestia has a "oh well, this could definitely hurt." And Twilight is the one who's actually going to use her magic to try to do something about it. And we also see, again, she uses her magic. Twilight uses her magic, and again, I'm thinking this is T-Rex because of the red blast. She's using her magic to help protect Celestia and Luna. There's another shot that we see we're part of, and a very dang freaking heck. We see another shot where part of Canterlot is ultimately blown up to bits and destroyed by a blast. Like, there is massive debris as part of Canterlot itself is blasted off the side of the mountain, and this major blast. And I don't know how much damage that did. I don't see like any pony involved with that, but there's like part of a tower of this that just went flying. Another thing that we notice here is this segment that follows where Twilight is looking fearful. She's looking concerned. She's using her magic. She's crying. And this And there's a couple of things to point out that's not just going on in the foreground with Twilight's expression, but there's also something that's going on in the background as well. First, I'm going to take note of the background because there's less to discuss with it. In the background, we see the red blast. We see Luna and Celestia. It appears that Luna and Celestia, that this scene could follow the other scene where Twilight is deflecting the blast from Tirac. I'm thinking that possibly Luna and Celestia may have helped to conjure this other thing, and they are helping to deflect the blast. We also see Pinky. I just now noticed it. We didn't notice it before, but we see Pinky and Fluttershy below as well. And we also see Discord. I see part of Discord right here as well. So this is all of them involved with it. Now, at first, whenever I saw this thumbnail, I thought that maybe this was a portal that they were going through, but I'm not really sure. But I'm thinking that they're deflecting the blast from Tirac, possibly behind this. And the scene that however, to focus on Twilight, there's something that goes on here. Is we notice it's a slow transition, but first Twilight, we see in this shot, she's actually stepping forward. She's actually taking a couple of steps forward, and we see a look of just complete devastation on her face. She's biting her lip and she's crying as she begins to power up her magic. And this scene that transitions is very emotional because Twilight begins to she begins to just hardcore. She doesn't want to do this as she's begun to power up her magic. And she doesn't want to do this. Now, there's a theory that's what is going on here is Twilight. Maybe they told Twilight she's got to do something, use some sort of spell, or like Twilight doesn't want to have to do it because it could be dangerous. What I'm thinking is Twilight here, maybe Twilight doesn't want to have to use a spell on the villains, maybe, because it could destroy them, or there's a risk that Twilight could hurt her friends if she uses this spell, but she also knows that if she doesn't use the spell, that her friends could be hurt anyway. Maybe Celestia and Luna have decided, and maybe Discord have decided that for Twilight to use some sort of spell to help trap the enemies or banish them or something, but it's also going to send Luna and Celestia and Discord to wherever they are. Or here, this could be the scene that, like I said, this could be a scene where Twilight is going to maybe sacrifice herself, and she's crying because she doesn't want to leave her friends. She's crying because she didn't want this to be how it ended. I'm not really sure. Like, this is this whole segment here of Twilight just looking hurt and devastated, and she doesn't want to use this spell. This scene has a lot going on just with Twilight. I don't know what's going to happen, but it's going to be emotional. That much I know. And then we get the scene where Spike is hugging Twilight that follows. I'd like to believe that this is after that, but I really don't know. Then there's another segment where all of the main six are standing here as well. This is in the throne room. This was in the earlier scene. And there's also something. The guards that are present here are in a similar position to where they were in the other shot where we've seen them run, except the position of the female guards were kind of reversed. But this is, I think, following that exact same scene. But that is my analysis on the second trailer. Now, my personal thoughts on what the pink in the moon makes me concerned. Had I not have noticed that, then I wouldn't have really thought too much about it. But I'm afraid right now that what's going to happen is a sort of a self-sacrifice sort of thing, where Twilight ends up sacrificing herself to save her friends. I don't know. I hope that's not the case, but I don't really know what's going to happen with this. The pink there does make me concerned in the moon. I suppose we'll just have to you know, just kind of wait and see what happens. But like I said, the scene, probably one of the shots that gets me the most, the first scene where Twilight is crying and she says she says that she's scared. And then the second shot where here Twilight is crying and she's beginning to power up a spell. There's a multitude of different things that could be going on in that scene. One is the thought of, like I said, maybe it's sacrifice. Maybe Luna and Celestia have told Twilight to use some sort of spell or do something with the bad guys, but it's going to put Luna and Celestia, it's going to end up jeopardizing them and Discord as well. Twilight, obviously she doesn't want to have to do it, but the others tell her it's the only way. And so Twilight, she's beginning to cry. She powers up the spell. That's one thought. Then that other scene where it shows this blast coming towards the main six, and they're just standing there bracing for it. Again, watching that, I think back to Toy Story 3. And, you know, of that beautiful moment where all of them just accepted death, and they were just content somewhat with just dying there so long as they were together. And this shot with Twilight and the rest of the main six there, it seems very much like that. You know, like every single one of them are accepting death as long as they're together. And so I'm very curious as to what's going to happen with that. And I am looking forward to catching up, hopefully, and watching the rest of season 9. I am looking forward to it. That is my analysis and thoughts on what is going on in this trailer. Now, I want to also make a few other things clear. First off, yes, I know that the show, like I said, has apparently been leaked in another country, and apparently people have already watched the entirety of the rest of the season 9 all the way up to the final episode. And I've seen people, I've seen a few people post things, do not post spoilers on Facebook, and other people are like, I don't care, you know, like, I'm going to do it anyway, screw you. No, I'm saying that, screw you to those who wants to post spoilers. So I'm telling you right now, do not spoil the rest of this for me. Do not spoil it. I want to go into it blindly as I can. I do know a couple of people apparently on Facebook made mentions that they were disappointed in the finale, and I want to clarify that I'm not going to go into the finale expecting something big and fantastic. Not because I doubt the writer or writers, it's just I don't believe in going into something with high hopes anyway, because it's easier to deal with if you don't have high expectations, and so I'm not going into it with high expectations. The second reason I bring this up is because apparently Big Jim has been apparently attacked on Twitter as a result of other idiotic bronies and Pegasisters in the community that have been complaining about the ending. And to me personally, I would have to say, chill the freak out, okay? The second thing that I would say is, go right, you know, if the ending does not, you know, no matter what they wrote, it would never be able to satisfy everybody's expectations, everybody's hopes. Second, just do what some other people have done. Do what I do. Just simply, if you don't like it, if it doesn't meet your expectations, then go write a fan fiction and write your own variation of how that it ends, and just pretend that your version is canon. I mean, there's no harm in that. After watching the washouts and saw that Lightning Dust didn't get redeemed, I wrote an alternate ending fanfic for that episode. I was fine. I was fine afterward, you know. I got it out of my system, and I was fine. You know, no big deal. I'm not immature to the degree. I'm not immature and going to send death threats to the writers, which apparently some extreme bronies and Pegasisters have been doing, and you're part of the problem. You are the ones that give this fandom. You are part of the people that give this fandom a bad name. And personally, I would never want to associate with someone like that. So if you're one of those people that follow me, and you're someone who complained to Big Jim, do me a solid, unsubscribe from me and stop following me, okay? Because I don't want to associate with you. I'd rather associate with people who are mature enough and sensible enough and have enough compassion in them to not send death threats to the writer. And so I want to apologize to Big Jim on behalf of the brony community, because not every one of us are like those people that you have encountered. So I want to say I'm sorry, truly sorry. Please don't think bad of the rest of the mature, good bronies and Pegasisters in the fandom. Please don't think less of us because of that. And just ignore those extremists. Then another thing that I want to point out is, I've never watched Roseanne or Game of Thrones, but I seriously doubt that however that MLP FIM ends, it would never be as bad as the endings for those were, because I've read a lot of stuff on the endings for those. Like, legit, and other shows too. I mean, there's legit, you can look up most disappointing TV series finales or TV show endings. There's lists on YouTube right now of the most disappointing series finales that exist on YouTube, on Google right now. It's an interesting read, and I'm pretty sure that MLP FIM is not as disappointing as some of those. I'm pretty sure, I know that for a fact, and I'm sure right now Game of Thrones is probably still number 1, if not number 2, behind probably Roseanne. Again, I've never watched those, but I have read about the endings. And so I'm pretty sure MLP is not even really comparable to that. And we also remember how The Amazing World of Gumball ended, okay? So, we also remember that. And again, I was confused. Yeah, I didn't understand it. I thought it was crazy to end it that way. But, again, there's fan fiction that carries on the story, yo. Okay? My gosh, chill out. Go dump yourself in a frozen lake, okay? But, anyway, that is my personal thoughts on the trailer and on what is going on apparently on Twitter right now. Again, Big Jim, I know you're never going to watch this, but again, I'm sorry, dude. I really apologize on behalf of the fandom. I'm sorry that you have had to deal with this, and I truly apologize. And I apologize to everybody involved with the rest of the season and the final episode. I apologize to everybody as well. And I apologize to everybody else in the fandom that are having to see these hardcore, extreme fans that are doing all of this stupid crap. So, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that there are all these idiots are doing this. So, I'm sorry. If we could put them in a cage and lock them in and dump them in the jungle somewhere, we could, but it probably wouldn't help. But, there are mature ones and there are immature, sensitive, overly angry, easy to jump to conclusions, and people like that. So, I'm sorry to Big Jim. I'm sorry to everybody involved with the final episode. On behalf of the fandom itself, I'm sorry. I truly am. And I'm sorry to everybody else that we're having to see this. And so I am really, really sorry. Please do not think any less of the fandom. There are still good people in the fandom. I know that. I can guarantee you that. There are still good people in this fandom that would never reduce themselves to such immaturity and such stupidity. But some people, I mean, it has nothing to do with them being fans. They already had that mentality. It just so happened that they happened to be a part of this fandom. It doesn't matter. It wouldn't matter what fandom that they were a part of. That mentality is still going to exist, regardless of what fandom that they're in. It's not the fandom that make them that. It's they that make themselves that. It's them. And so they're just idiots, you know. And there's nothing we can do about it. They're just idiots, and you know, they just so happen to be in this fandom, and so we just have to isolate ourselves. Like, I don't know you, all right? I don't know you. I don't want to associate with you. Be gone with you. I banish thee. You know? So, but again, that's my thoughts on both the trailer and what is going on right now. So, and also, I'm going to say this as well. I don't care if you've already watched the entirety of it. Do me a solid, please. Do not post spoilers in the comments. Not just because I don't want to see it, but I don't want anybody else who hasn't seen it spoiled either, so please do not post it. And I'm going to say this now. I'm going to say the same thing that I've seen other people say on Twitter, on Facebook. If you deliberately post spoilers, in the comments, I'm going to delete your comment, plain and simple. I'm going to delete your comment. And to avoid spoilers for everybody else as well. So please be respectful. Respect that there are those like myself who haven't watched it yet and are planning on watching it as the episodes release. We're not going to jump ahead and binge the rest of everything right now. So if you've seen it, please respect that not everybody has. And please respect that. If you can't respect that, then do me a solid and stay away until after it's all said and done. All right? Plain and simple. Okay? Then you can say whatever you want. But again, really looking forward to seeing what's going on. And again, if you haven't seen the spoilers, put your thoughts, put your theories in the comments below. If you have seen spoilers, keep your knowledge to yourself. Don't tell anybody. Okay? I don't even want to see a comment that says, I know something you don't know. I don't want to even see that, okay? And also, do not post a theory, a supposed theory, which just so happens to be the truth, okay? Which just so happens to be a spoiler in disguise. Okay? Do not post a theory which is a spoiler in disguise. Don't say, well, I think Grogar and Chris. Do not post a theory that says, well, I think T-Rex and Chrysalis may end up getting married. And then, like, it's really going to happen because you've already seen it. Do not do that. Because so help me on Celestia's name, if you do that, then once I find out that it's legit, you, sir, or madam, will be permabanned. And you will no longer be able to comment on any of my videos again. Yeah. But again, thanks again for joining me. Hope you guys enjoyed, and hopefully I will see you guys in the next video that I do. Take care.